flashing rainbow type. Can I still keep that on my website? Does that,
if you want to do that, you can do that.
Does that cause more weight though? Like if I were to do that?
Or slightly more than, we're talking micro.
What if I had a drop shadow to that type?
You really we're getting back to the do no harm point of things.
This is very painful to even try to visualize. Welcome to the Marketing Team of One podcast, where we have conversations about the issues one-person marketing teams face when trying to meet their goals with limited time and budgets. Now here's your hosts, Eric and Mike. Mike!
Eric. Hi.
Here we sit.
We did it.
You're on the crying couch.
Yep.
You're not crying today, though.
No.
Or are you? No.
Depends.
Well, there's tears on the very brink. You're on the brink of tears most of the time.
It's touch and go most of the time. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that works. We could probably both sit there maybe this week. I don't know. That'd be tough, though. Wouldn't look so good on camera. Today, we're going to talk about building a perfect website.
Perfection is elusive. It may not be possible.
But after this podcast, we're just going to hope people can get a little bit closer to building that perfect website.
Yeah.
And this would apply to any size scale website.
Yeah,
really.
I think almost down to a single page, but also a full website. Full website being hundreds of pages.
Amazon.com.
Yeah.
Maybe.
There's a lot of the considerations of all the things you need to think about for a perfect website.
Perfect.
Would apply to everything.
Just to bring up perfect and the idea of perfect in the website world, this just gets us to a level where, perfect includes a lot of different factors. Is this going to be something that we're going to be talking about, like design and pictures and color and things like that? Or is it just like wrenching on, the suspension's going to need to be fine-tuned and then there's spark plugs need to be adjusted, like that kind of talk? What are we talking as far as what's making it perfect?
You're an F1 fan.
Love it. Mercedes.
Yep.
Toto. Yep.
So that F1 car is that's perfection, right? It has to be perfection, right?
Absolutely.
Does the labeling on the outside, is that what makes it perfect?
Well, as a designer, of course, I do judge that, but no, usually that's not why I'm watching.
Yeah. There's, how big's the team managing that, like the build and the maintenance and all that?
Sometimes it's over 1,000 people.
Websites aren't that complicated. I don't want to overinflate that a little bit, but I think when you're talking about like design and graphics or like tuning or wrenching on it, those are only two of 12 different
There's
like
a lot
considerations.
Of levers.
There's a lot of things that I think go into it. In my low moments, I just think about like how hard it is to actually build a web page or a website that checks all the boxes. It's like, because it's such a random set of skills and requirements that all have to come together to really kind of build things. And for one person, it's probably very, very hard to do. And so I just wanted to kind of point those out and just say I don't think most sites get all of these things right. It's kind of a sliding scale on a lot of these different things, but there's so many different considerations. And so having a web page it might not be enough.
It's optimizing the web page for all of the things that you need this web page to work for. That's what we're going to talk about today.
Yeah. Maybe not so much optimization, but I see it as considerations and things you need to pay attention to have what I would say is a successful and compliant and website.
This is so we're giving up people a level set. If they reach the perfection of all of these, you've given me 12 bullet points to go through.
Yes.
Okay. So it's a lot. We're going to try to make it quick. We're not going to have you sit here for 3 hours watching a podcast.
Yes.
As much as you'd probably love to do.
I don't want it to be as dizzying for everybody as it can be for others who think about all these things all the time.
Okay.
These
are the things that you check a box on and look at when you're judging and helping our clients understand what they need to keep their eyes on when they're building a website?
I might have high standards, but when I consider like what we're doing to build a website right, these are the areas that I look at.
So, of course, we're going to start off with my favorite phrase of the podcast. Well, there's so many, but this would be one of my favorites.
Yeah.
And I think it's a top 10 hit if we were to do that. Might be a future episode. Know your audience, correct?
Correct.
Do we want to start there?
I think you have to start there, because if you're not, it's not like this is your North Star for everything else you're doing, right? I think you have to know that what you're doing here is not, in most cases, is not for you. You're not building this website for you. Mm-hmm. I mean, if it's a personal thing, sure. But if it's for commerce or communication or something like that, you're building that for other people, and you have to keep those people in mind. And so everything else that you do past that, should keep that in mind. You have to be considering your users first.
So we're going to make a list first, and we're going to put in there maybe the top 3 things that this website does for your organization or company. And then we're going to put a hierarchy on those 3 things and make sure that we hit all 3 of those ideally as perfect as we possibly can. Is it 3? Is it 1? Am I speaking on a turn as far as like when we identify the goals of the website in the terms from how our audience is looking and experiencing the website? Or is it just one goal? Stick to that.
I think it's a mindset.
Oh, interesting.
I don't think it's a list of checkboxes and stuff like that. It's a mindset. You have to be thinking about this, that this isn't for me. Yes, partially for me.
Yes.
But in order to be a success for me, I have to be thinking about who are the people this is for.
Okay. So first,
that's just an overall mindset thing.
Set your mind correctly before you set down to build this website.
Yep.
All right. So then the next thing that I see on this list is copywriting. Words.
Copywriting for websites is, I don't think it's an easy thing. I think a lot of people think, oh, I could just, I write emails. I know I can write. Sure. I'll write this thing. But there's a structure, there's a flow, there's a brevity, there's a clarity that's super important for any pages. Anytime you're trying to communicate something. Too brief, you don't give enough information to be helpful. Too long, you bore people, they're not even going to read it, right? So like the copywriting has to be, it almost in all cases, trying to be as succinct as possible and focused on the person.
And there could be slight levels of hierarchy. If you let's say it's a scientific type of a website, yes, the people are going there to learn something and they want to do a heavy dive into something. You don't put that on the homepage though.
No.
You put that in a place.
There's a time and a place for everything.
So you want to consider those kind of things. If you do have a lot of information and very technical stuff, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe, I don't know ways to bury it, but you're going to have to put that down the chain a little bit.
Yeah. So copywriting is super, having the skill to maybe not write it, but to understand that what's important to convey and doing it as concisely as possible is very important, I think, for most top-level pages on your site.
One of my favorite phrases that I've heard from people is, I would have wrote you a shorter letter if I had more time.
Yep.
Because it takes a lot of time to write.
Yes.
Not a lot of copy.
Exactly. It's brevity and clarity can be hard, and that's what I think you really need to strive for on this perfect web page or website that we're talking about.
All right, let's move on to the next bullet. Is that copywriting? Okay. User experience. What does that mean? I don't even know what that means. That means how it looks. What I don't even know.
I mean, there's a lot of, and I think there's a lot of things that we're going to talk about further through the list. And this does kind of bubble up to the original thing, like keep your users in mind, not yourself, right? But I think user experience, it touches so many different things. The writing that we just talked about is a big part of it, right? The look and feel can, help support that user experience. Your navigation between pages, where you're linking from one page to another. How are you making it as easy as possible for people to use this site that you built?
Find the button, find the navigation. Yeah. How do I go back? How do I go forward? How do I navigate?
Are you anticipating their next steps when they're on a page? Like you might, like some of them, like if you're talking about more of like an app-based or some kind of like onboarding sequence, you can walk them through things and it might be a little bit more prescribed. But for other general things, you may not think there's natural steps, but if you take a step back and you think about the journey that people are taking through there, what are some common next steps that people might want to do? You want to anticipate those needs and make it easier for the people.
That brings up a phrase that I've heard you say, journey mapping, where you basically are doing that, where you're identifying this is the purpose of what this user is going to come to this website for, and they want to go through these steps to get to that solution.
Yeah.
So make a few of those scenarios in your own head, because obviously a website's not just a single purpose thing. There's multiple purposes, but you want to identify what all of those goals will be using that.
If you can.
Yep. And then navigate it again, put a hierarchy on it, put, maybe it's 3 or 4 different purposes, and then map those out logically so that it makes sense for those users.
Yep. Yeah.
Have we covered user experience?
Yeah, let's keep it. I think a lot of these touch on elements of user experience.
Yeah, I think user experience is kind of another umbrella thing that kind of does relate to most of these, but we're going to dive deeper into it. Like we just talked about design. Let's talk about design, Mike. What does design mean on a website?
My thinking with design, especially when it comes to web pages and stuff like that, is it should support the message or the communication that you're trying to make, right?
Yep.
And so the design should help communicate the look and the feel that you want to convey for your organization, but you should not let that design get in the way of comprehension or the message. And so I think too little design and you're not going to, it's going to give a kind of, so what?
It'll be off brand for one.
It could be off brand. Yeah. Too much design. You're probably putting your own stuff ahead of the people that are trying
the goals that we just identified.
Of the communication. Yeah. So getting design right and making sure that it is an extension of your brand on the site is important. Each site is going to have a different balance for that. If there's no prescriptive, this is the design that you should use. But
I'm going to use the phrase that they use in the medical industry: do no harm.
Yes.
There's a lot of opportunities to do harm with design.
Yes, I've seen a lot of it. Yeah.
Maybe just if a default decision, just keep that in mind. Maybe,
absolutely.
Default on the side of simplicity.
Yes. And there's a lot of reasons on the web too that you would want to, if given the choice between them, you would probably want to go simpler.
Yeah.
And we'll get into those or other considerations for this perfect web page.
Preview. Okay. Yep. Very good.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that a website is an extension of your brand. Think of it that way. It's a deeper dive for your customers or your users to dive deeper into the experience of what it's like to work with you, what it's like to buy your products and be involved in the culture of your organization. Think in those terms. I don't know if that helps people, but that's kind of what we go through when we just design anything, really. Yep. I'm thinking of a publication, which is kind of a close analog to what a website would be. Ideally, though, because a website has very chaotic ways of navigating around as opposed to a book where you're flipping from one page to the next. Think in terms of driving people to those purposes in a much more subtle way with visual elements and elements that you already have in your brand.
Yep, absolutely.
Right. Enough about design, right?
Let's move on. It's just one of 12,
I know. We're going to be here a while. We're only 5 in.
Yeah.
Okay, let's talk about accessibility. What does that mean?
This is a huge, huge thing. I mean, there's federal mandates on website accessibility now and making sure that your website meets requirements. So people who have impaired vision or no vision at all or motor skill, disabilities, that they can still access the content of your site. And so that's a deep thing and I know we've talked about it in other episodes too, but accessibility is a growing concern for a lot of people, especially people who haven't really paid attention to it. And now they're hearing, there's federal regulation against it. We need to make it accessible. There's a lot of things that go into it, but so I don't think you should ever be building a website that doesn't think about accessibility.
And let's just hit really quickly a list just off the top of the dome here. Color contrast is a big issue sometimes.
Yep. Color contrast, type sizes.
Type sizes.
Not making them too small.
Okay.
As you get older, it's really easy to test things. You just kind of take off your glasses and you read it, and that's a good test. Right. And then there's some of the invisible elements to most people that you need to put in there, and that would be like keyboard shortcut, keyboard navigation, so you can get past long menus and get to the content of the page. And there's a lot of other things behind the scenes.
Putting labels on images so that the reader can explain what the photo is.
Yes, for people who are using a screen reader for those type of things. Yeah, labeling images, labeling charts, tables, so they get read with the proper descriptions.
And one last one, auto playing video. Just rolls into right of a video or some sort of carouseling features that drive you mental, right?
I'm not a huge fan.
Okay.
But yeah, for accessibility point, you have to have controls to be able to stop and play those things on the page. So like the background video that everybody loves to throw in there, right? You can't just have that be auto playing. You have to have a way for people to control that. And that's more for motion. People are motion sensitive to, especially if they don't have control over the motion, that it can,
make them dizzy.
Yeah.
Whatever.
So,
okay.
Yep.
Okay. Well, this gets into the same category-ish, maybe. The next bullet point, we're going to call this compliance. So you have to be compliant when you're making websites accessible. But you're speaking, there's other things that fall into this bucket of compliance.
Yeah. So I probably could have labeled it a little bit better. But the idea here is that if you're in Europe, if you are in California, there's a lot of regulation about like consumer privacy and data and how you handle that.
Got it. Okay.
If you collect cookies at all, this is why if you've used the web at all, you're seeing the results of this. You see the pop-up when it says accept, reject, all the different things to let people know. That's especially if you're collecting any kind of things. And you could be using third-party things that you don't necessarily think about are collecting data, but they are. I mean, the biggest example is probably Google Analytics, right? If you're using Google Analytics, it's setting a cookie on your machine so it can track all that stuff.
So by default, you pretty much need to put on that accept the fact that you're collecting data, or what's the other, deny? What if people deny? Does that mean they can't look at your website?
This is a tricky one, because like when you're doing that, when you're saying deny, you're turning off the ability for them to set a cookie on your machine. So you can't just like have a notice and then keep doing everything. You have to have it tied to the actions you're actually doing.
A mechanical thing.
And with both the GDPR, which is the European standard, and the California Consumer Protection Act, they all also have provisions for making it so me as a consumer, I can request from the website owner that you delete my data. So you have to be able to go back and be able to remove any personally identifiable.
Have we ever gotten a call that said, "Hey, get rid of my data"? If we've ever done that, and they've
no, I don't know that we have. But
just curious.
But I would hope you are ready to do it. So this is a big thing. I mean, this is another thing that's just like, when I think about all the things you have to do on a website, this is one of the ones that just kind of feels a little like, if you don't do it already, it can feel daunting.
Okay, this brings up the next issue. Now, I'm just going to break off for a second here and talk about this, because I was just at a conference where somebody was talking about this, and you mentioned fast code and hosting as the next bullet point. So combine those two things.
Yeah.
Fast code used to be scored by Google, and then your site would get a much higher search thing. But now that was basically made irrelevant, I think. Like Google has recently come out, or maybe not even that recently, and said page speed has no relevance anymore.
Oh, I haven't heard that.
But it's still important. Right. You don't want to
I think it's super important. Yeah. Like if you go to a website that takes forever to load, you're like, come on, man.
Click.
Like I'm lost interest. So that it's, I say, like, ideally you're making your site as fast as it can be.
Yeah.
And that can be a hosting thing. It's often a code thing. Like, one of the reasons I don't like WordPress is that it can add a lot of bloat to your pages that can slow it down.
Here he goes.
I'm not going to rant any further about it, but I'm just saying that like speed is important, right? Yeah. And so that does go back to design
user experience.
and user experience, right?
Exactly.
Like if you're designing a page that is very image heavy and has a whole bunch of like interaction, like transitions and all this stuff, and you're loading in stuff behind the scenes to do it, that can take a toll on loading speed. And so, in my opinion, it's really hard to get right. It can be done right, but it takes a lot of effort and a lot of stuff to do.
Well, and I think
right.
a low bar is the image thing, right? Because I know that there's been, people want to load in like a 65 gajillion kilobyte file as your giant photo background.
Yep.
Which, okay, that's fine if you're on a desktop and you're on high speed, but if you're on mobile, it makes no sense to have that device download this gigantic file for a background where it just needs to be a small. So there's optimizations that need to take place per device, correct? Or
yes, well, yeah, we're going to get into that one too.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's also like CDN servers, which is content delivery networks that deliver. Yeah. That's more for video, or is it used for imagery as well?
It's used for most assets on your website. And the idea behind those is that there are servers that are physically closer to where you are at the time. So instead of just loading from one single server out in, New York or whatever,
Sri Lanka,
by getting those assets closer to you, they can be delivered just, that much faster and everything. But yeah, optimizing the individual assets on there. I don't know how many times I've seen images that have been uploaded to a website and just put into place without any kind of consideration for optimizing it. And there's super easy things you can do to shave it down to a third of its size at a minimum.
Yeah.
Depending on what the starting thing is.
Is there a no-go size that's just like, that's egregious to put a 10 megabyte file as an image?
Oh gosh. I'll just tell you that honestly, I haven't looked into this because I think the answer is not like what's the maximum. It's how low can you get it.
Okay.
Right. But I think if your web page takes more than like 2 megabytes to load the entire thing.
Okay. And there's a number.
Now, when you start putting in multiple images and custom fonts and JavaScript and everything like that, that's a hard bar to hit.
2 megabytes,
especially for if you want to have more design applied to it.
Cool stuff on my site.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So
flashing rainbow type, can I still keep that on my website?
If you want to do that, you can do that.
Does that cause more weight though? Like if I were to do that?
Or slightly more than we're talking micro.
What if I had a drop shadow to that type?
You really we're getting back to the do no harm point of things.
This is very painful to even try to visualize. I think I hurt myself. Okay, let's not go there then. Yeah. So I'm talking about just funny, weird stuff. Try to just limit or remove it.
I think you need to we keep talking about this perfect web page, right?
Yeah.
Ideally, the perfect web page is super lightweight and can load super fast.
Yeah.
And a lot of that are design considerations, there are coding considerations, and then there's also the hosting considerations. What kind of server is on it? Is it, GoDaddy always gets a bad name. But a lot of it is because they sell their hosting that's on a server where they're assuming there's not a lot of traffic for your website.
Yeah.
And they put too many sites on one server, and those can compete for resources on that one server for everything, right? So hosting and moving that, whereas if you had your own dedicated resources and everything, that your site could load faster. And there's hundreds of different ways now. I'm not even hip to half the ways that it works now.
That's a good point is look at don't just choose the cheapest hosting service out there, because I know that we've run into this too, where it's just upgrade. Maybe you do get your own dedicated machine. Maybe it's only $5 more a month or something like that. But those are the type of consideration. I'm simplifying this, so I know.
No, totally. But this
that's
is
what I mean.
If hosting in general, you get what you pay for.
Commoditized too, though.
Yes.
I mean, it's very the cheapest is cheap.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
But you'll see that in performance and speed.
Responsive. What does that mean?
Okay.
Is that somebody just responds somehow?
Yeah, it's how quickly you can respond to the people who come to your website.
Nice.
No, it is, when we say responsive, there's this idea of responsive design, right? That you have to, I think the most maddening thing for a lot of people is who create websites is to see your website somewhere you didn't have access to before, whether it's a smaller laptop or a big screen or different size mobile phones, right? The perfect website should fit in all those different scenarios and fit all the other criteria we talked about user experience and speed and everything, and be easy to use and get to the information that you need. But that can be hard to do. Like, that's a hard bar to because you're not just designing or building for one perfect case.
I know. It's like you're building at least for three. There's like tablet, phone, and laptop, and or desktop. Sorry, not laptop. That's just three, but there's really, you could cut and slice and dice that even a little bit, right?
And they call them like breakpoints of where your design might change and everything like that. But those are not, they're not set in stone. None of them are.
Okay.
So it's more like those are almost like milestones, but you need to gracefully move through those milestones, and those could be checkpoints for your design. But really it should, because you never know. You could see your website up on a Jumbotron 42-inch TV. Yeah. You could see it on a iPhone 6 that's tiny, right? You could, I don't know if you really want to, but this is the way people get some information, right? On the watch. Yeah. The idea is that it's not a one size fits all thing. It's not like designing a poster that the size and how it's going to be shown every time.
That was always a hard thing for me to try to understand when I was designing my 2 or 3 websites that I've designed in my life. Yeah. It's like, oh man, now I got to do it for twice over again. For these other things.
I don't know how many times with clients I've said, can you please send me a screenshot? I have no idea what you're looking at. I can't recreate what you're seeing here. Because there's only so many, unless you want to invest in a big old testing lab where you've got every different kind of permutation of.
Well, there used to be a service. Where you can visualize on 85 different devices, right?
Yeah. And you definitely can do that. That still exists and everything. But luckily the web has standardized on a lot of different web interfaces, so the differences between them aren't nearly as bad as they were years ago. That was hair pulling. I probably would have more hair now if it wasn't for.
Is that where it all went?
Yeah, I think so. It was a lot of cross-browser responsive website testing stuff. Yeah,
that's a shame.
Yeah,
boy, I'm glad we're through that dark time. Me too. Next 3 you said are.
I would say that these are more like a lot of these things we've talked about already could apply to a single page website. They're all super important. I think the next 3 are more about having a bigger site and being the steward or the owner of that bigger site.
Okay.
So with that caveat, the first would be navigation.
If you're moving between.
If you're moving if you're moving to a bigger site, having your navigation be clear and easy to use is super important. This goes back to the user experience. It's an element of user experience, right? But making sure that you have clear, easy to use links, primary navigation, secondary navigation, or your kitchen sink down in the footer of your website. Making the navigation through the site and making things easy to find is a very important element.
It sounds easy, yet I still run into these issues to this day. And the web has been around for decades, and we still have creators who don't understand it yet.
It's really interesting, and I think a lot of it is back to our overall thing, right? They're probably building it for themselves to get something out and then move on. So they put a page where they think it belongs, not where their users might expect to see it, right? So having a navigation to kind of meet those people where they're at is a key part of user experience.
It's the same. Is there to me? It's like this L shape, right? It's an upside or an F shape, right? That's people talk about.
They've F or a Z or whatever, but basically, this idea that you're kind of moving left to right and then down the page.
Yeah.
Yes.
Along the side, the left side.
Okay. Yeah. So most websites you'll see, they're either they got their stuff across the top or they got their stuff along the left-hand side, at least here on the left to right, reading parts of the world.
Is this one of those things where it's like, don't recreate settled law, like just stick with that pretty much? Or do we want to encourage people to like put all their nav down in the lower right?
I think it depends on your website. I would say for the most part, like what are you selling? Are you selling like crazy ideas and wild creative approaches to something?
Okay.
I would say, yeah, there's probably a little bit more room to like break from what works. But I think for a lot of things, like leaning into people's expectations and their patterns is going to make it a better user experience for most.
Second to last, here we go. Ease of updates. Now, what does that mean? Like ease of, like I'm the owner of the website and I need to update the website. Yeah,
this is where I'm like thinking of like you're the steward of this website and everything.
I need to make changes.
Yeah. I think an outdated website or a site that's hard for you to update is undermining this perfect nature of a web page, right? And so, I think it's crucial that no matter what, either you have a lifeline to somebody who can make updates quickly, or better, that you're empowered to get in there and make changes to make them quickly as things change. The only constant in life is change, right?
Well, and that's the thing is like comparing it to print, like it's printed, you're done. There's no edits. The beautiful thing about a website, it's not carved in stone. The idea is that it's a flexible, malleable tool that your business or organization is using, and you want to be able to keep things as updated as possible.
Yep.
Let's say you moved. You don't have to change your website.
No.
Address, but you do have to put the new address.
Yeah, that's a great example of a small little thing that you should be able to making it as easy as possible is part of this perfect website experience.
People, I mean, if it's a local business, please put your location somewhere easy to find on the website.
Yeah.
That's another one that just drives me insane when I can't find that. I'm looking for your store, but you've not given me the information I need. All right. So what are some of these some of these platforms are built for this. Now, I won't bring up WordPress. We won't talk about that.
It's built for that.
It's called a CMS, Content Management System, which allows for it's in the name, content is managed. Is that something that people need to look for when they're starting off on this journey to go build their website? It has to be a CMS, or is this something that they can, if they know code and can get in there and change HTML easily, then they can do it that way on a static site? Or
that's a fancy insider term, I would say CMS. Do you need a CMS to be able to make quick updates? I would have 5 years ago, I would have said, yeah, you probably need something like it, or a platform like Wix or Squarespace or something like that allows you to log in and do those quick changes. I think now that it's more technical, but I think with the rise of AI tools, Claude and everything, it is possible to have it help you make those updates.
Not as necessary now as were in the past. You would have probably wanted something. And basically what a CMS would provide in the past, I mean, it still does, but I mean, back when they were much more, or maybe they're still popular, I don't know, but there's a dashboard on the back end of it that makes it a lot easier for a lot of different. You don't have to be a technical genius to get in there and change it. It was more like dashboard based and very easy for
a lot of different ways to get in there and not be confronted with HTML code.
Yeah. And now with Claude Code, it's not as daunting.
You still don't need to touch the code. It can take care of all that stuff behind. But I would probably want to reference the rest of our list here. Like you can't, I've seen what Claude can do on its own, and it's not going to touch a lot. It'll touch some of the bullet points we've talked about today, but it's not going to touch all of them. So handle with care, I would say.
Yeah. All right, let's go to another one here. Search visibility. This one can get a little interesting and maybe more technical. I don't know. I
mean, this is depends on how deep you want to go with this whole thing. I think search visibility, I'm lumping together a whole bunch of things like search engine optimization. I'm also lumping in whatever you want to call the ability for AI tools to cite your work and everything.
AEO.
GEO, AIO.
IOU.
EIEIO.
EIEIO. So this is probably one of the most important issues, though, if you do have a site, is getting it cataloged by the search gods, whoever they may be, Google, or the AI gods, whoever they are, Claude, ChatGPT, Perplexity, whatever it is. But there's technical things that optimize for this, correct? I mean, and how hard is it to keep ahead of that? Because this is the game that is, in the past, people have just been gaming this and trying, I'm number one on Google.
I think everyone's going to try and still game it. The target might change. You know, like before, Google's the big dog. You know, like I want to rank as high as we can in Google, right? It's a lot of this is actually probably more a copywriting thing, but it also goes back to the considering, you know, who you're doing this for, right? And this is really hard because you have to know what the needs are of the audience, and you have to use the words that they would be using and putting into search to find you.
What problems do you solve, and maybe have those actual problems outlined on your site?
So a lot of it comes back to copywriting, but you have to have an eye on what people are searching. Including AI on this is so much deeper. It's always been, even for Google search and everything, the playbook is, you can do a lot on your own site, but what really helps is to have other sites out there. Like you're creating stuff that's so valuable that you have other highly valuable sites linking to your stuff, and that boosts your profile and the rankings and everything, right? Then there's an element of relevancy and everything. Well, AI is just exploded this beyond like backlinks. They're looking at other places to see your brand mentioned. You know, they're looking at Reddit, they're looking at LinkedIn, they're looking at, you know, local like Yelp reviews and stuff like that. So this is way beyond the scope of just a single web page or something like that. It's a whole thing. But if being found online in those areas like Google search or AI tools is important to you, that has to be part of your strategy for your perfect page.
Google ideally scores how relevant are you to solving or providing this solution.
Yes.
They want to be, their goal is a question and answer site.
Yes.
So anything that optimizes for that, if you solve problems, put that on your website in as explicit of a way as you possibly can. Be a good citizen, I guess, is probably one of the easier things to do, is just be as open, honest, and forthright with all of the information about your company as possible, making it easy for them to find you and what you do. And that alone makes you relevant on some level. And it doesn't cost you anything, really. Yeah. That's just to get in the door, though. I mean, the game is complicated at this point. I mean, it is, like you said, it's a whole science that changes all the time. That's the thing that's crazy.
The foundational stuff has not changed in the, my 15 years dealing with website stuff is like, if you create easy to read, relevant content on your page, that's your best first step.
And there's a track record too, like being around for some years and some time frame as well. Just has you consistently being there and showing up makes you some sort of an authority in the eyes of the search gods as well. You know, that can get you pretty far. I mean, the Yelp reviews and having those kind of things also helps if it's like a home service or something like that. All right, I have one more, Mike.
One more.
Yeah. We finished ease of updates. Now let's talk about integrations. This sounds complicated.
I mean, it can be, right? Like, but if you have anything other than just publishing information for people, right, you're probably going to be dealing with some kind of functionality. In a lot of things out there, there are good solutions for these integrations. So great example would be like you have a form on your website that is a contact form, right? Like it seems simple, but it's something that making sure that the form takes the information and then gets it to the right person reliably is, I would say that's an integration. That's a functionality thing that's super important. But you have to keep an eye on it. It does, like the weird thing about those things is, especially if they're just sending you an email, if it's a regular contact form, you might not even notice that it's broken.
Yeah.
And then it can break. And then
so
you realize.
So what do you do, test it every month or something? Or
I mean, that's something that's why it's I put it in as a consideration. There's a whole bunch of other integrations, like integration things, like if you're using an email marketing platform like MailChimp or HubSpot or something like that, that making sure that when people sign up that they're showing up in your list because you've got these other marketing things that you're trying to do. Those integrations are something that you need to have working and right for this.
Because the other thing is a lot of times these integrations rely on APIs. I'll just get technical. I know maybe people don't know what an API is, but that's what the code is basically that's injected into your site that allows for some of these integrations to function and talk to another platform or another service like HubSpot or MailChimp, and they get updated and they get changed and they might break.
Yeah.
And you don't know when that happens, or maybe
and the good ones do send, if there's going to be changes that break like that, if it's something on their end, they're usually pretty good about that, but they can be buried in. If you're getting 200 emails a day and you get this one thing that says, hey, here's this action required thing, you're like, I don't know if that matches for me. And then, oh, shoot, it did match for what I needed for something I'm doing. So it's, integrations they're not a part of every site, but they're super important if you do have an ecosystem of marketing tools that are outside of just your website.
We've covered integrations, Mike. You know what? That's the last bullet point on my list that you provided me to talk about today.
It's a wonder I've stayed in this business as long as I have.
A lot to keep track of.
So much. It's kind of dizzying, like especially if you're trying to do it all yourself. It's a lot of things to consider and everything.
Because now you've built the website, you've optimized for all that stuff, and then there's the whole okay, now I've got to keep it maintained, and keep it alive, and keep it running. And, then there's a change. I'm change that photo. Okay, well, the photo is going to make it even more slower to load or something, right? I mean, all those changes come with drawbacks potentially or risk, right?
I mean, I think it's just, it is, there's so much. I think if you're given the task of just building a website, and at first you're like, oh yeah, I mean, just fire up Squarespace and I'll build a website, or I'll set AI off and create a website for me. But like being aware of all these different considerations is going to make your website better in the long run. But it's not easy. It's kind of hard, but they're all things that you should be considering.
Okay. Well, you've given us the roadmap and the blueprint for building a perfect website.
Yeah.
I can't wait to get started. Maybe I need to come up with an idea and build one over the weekend.
Yeah.
It's for fun.
Yeah.
You make it sound like a blast.
It sounds, I know. I'm really inspiring tons of people to get out there. It's so easy. Just do this thing. It is.
Just these 12 tiny little things.
12 little things.
Right.
Some are easy. Some of them are not, but like, I think if it all sounds daunting and everything like that, I think there's some things that are probably that you could minimize the importance of. And, like I wouldn't skip out on, I'm a perfectionist. I wouldn't skip out on most of them. But I think if you can work on making sure that you're communicating clearly and that your design is supporting that message and not getting in the way of that message, and that your design is, again, not getting in the way of the communication, but also the accessibility of the website. If you can do all those things right, if you're starting from scratch and doing that, I think a lot of the other stuff will are less important. You might not introduce more of those considerations.
That's your top list. Hit that first, and then you can kind of go back in and help with that other stuff.
Yeah.
And there's some stuff that has kind of a knock-on effect too, like the SEO part of this.
Yeah.
The clearer you are, the more effective the site is, the better off it's going to score in that octagon that we like to call the internet.
Yep.
But yeah, that's good to kind of provide a preliminary list to focus on first, and then go in and backfill. The rest of that stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Sounds like a great place to stop. Nice job.
All right.
All 12. We hit it.
We did it.
Wow. Amazing.
Yep.
Thanks, Mike. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Eric. It's been fun.
Thanks for tuning in. For more information and other episodes, subscribe to the Marketing Team of One podcast on YouTube, Apple, or Spotify podcast networks. You can also chat with us on the r/Marketing Team of One subreddit or visit marketingteamofone.com to learn more.